Two Australians are back on the grid for their home Formula One Grand Prix, and they just might get another record crowd to Albert Park this weekend. I would suspect so, because this is where we find our reporter Drew Jones this morning. Glitz and glamour last night, Drew, but it's starting to warm up to the real deal. What's happening today?
Morning, Pete. Yeah, well, it is starting to warm up because we can hear cars on the track. The Porsche Carreras are up for their first practice session in around an hour and a half or so. The gates opening here at Albert Park shortly. So a record crowd last year, 445,000 people flooding through the gates across the weekend at the Formula One Grand Prix, and to see the supercars as well. It was the biggest sporting event in Melbourne's history. They're hoping to break that record again this year. We're going to hear from Travis Sold, the CEO of the AusGP, shortly, but there is so much to look forward to, not only today with the supercars race one tonight, but also Formula One over the entire of the weekend. So Mark Webber retired back in 2013. That's the last time we saw two Australians on the grid at the Aussie Grand Prix. So Oscar Piastri looking quick in the McLaren to start this season. Fourth in Jeddah, very impressive performance. I have been told that fast around the corners, the McLarens, and that might well suit this Albert Park track. So maybe, just maybe, we might see an Australian on the podium if Oscar can really drive the wheels off this thing this weekend. Of course, Danny Ricciardo was on the podium about 10 years ago, but then disqualified for a fuel flow issue on that occasion. So close but so far for Danny Ric. Don't expect him to really be contending for a podium spot. We know that Team RB, the car, just not quite quick enough this season. They're sitting back in 13th and 16th, Ricciardo's two finishes over the start to the season. But Pete, can anyone catch the Red Bulls? And Max Verstappen, him and Sergio Perez have been dominant to start the season, 1-2 in both Bahrain and Saudi Arabia. Really, the only thing standing in their way seems to be complacency. This RB20 car is just so quick. It's like a rocket ship this season. So they might all be fighting for that third spot on the podium. Hopefully, that could well be Oscar Piastri. Just a bit of news floating around about Carlos Sainz at Ferrari, who had appendicitis in Saudi Arabia. We saw Oliver Bearman make his debut, the 18-year-old, really composed in that Ferrari, finishing 7th. So just waiting on confirmation that he has recovered from that surgery in time to race for Ferrari this weekend. So getting underway today, gates opening soon, and then racing starts tonight with the supercars, and then a big weekend ahead.
Okay.